Hey everybody, welcome back to the Full Circle Network. I'm editor-in-chief of FullCircleCinema.com, Jackson Hayes. Today we are here to review the penultimate episode of Season 2 of Titans, otherwise titled Faux Hawk. Today I'll be joined by my managing editor, Marcos Melendez.
Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be back this week. I think we're going to have a pretty good time talking about this episode.
Jacob, what do you think?
Hey guys, it's me. I haven't been on for the past few episodes.
Good introduction.
Thanks. Huh? I really just threw me in there, that quiet little pause.
Oh wow.
You know, I think we're gonna have a great podcast for you guys this week. I think you'll really enjoy this.
Oh my lord.
Jackson's really excited to jump into this podcast.
All right, let's get going, boys.
Let's jump into it, Jackson. I know you're pumped. Let's get right into it.
I'm ready to go.
Jackson
and
is
let's do it.
ready to go. Let's jump into it.
Okay,
Jackson, your thoughts?
So, excuse me. So, yeah, Faux Hawk. We're here for episode 12. This was not one I was particularly looking forward to. After the last 3 weeks, I've been quite disappointed each and every week with varying degrees of improvement after episode 9, which was just by far one of the, if not the worst, if not, it was very bad. So yeah, going into this week, I was kind of hesitant in terms of what was going to happen, where we were going to go. Everyone was still apart; it was still all over the place. I was like, Jesus, how are they going to get this all back together? This is a big mountain they have to climb, and I think I can report that they successfully pulled it off. This was a damn good episode, to be honest with you.
It's probably the best one since episode 7. I think it's definitely one of the best of the season.
I think it's up there, top 3, top 4, maybe of the season. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think almost everything works. I think there's some great character moments. I think there's some real development here, some actual depth to the show in this episode, which has been lacking the last few weeks.
Yep, some great action.
Right, it just worked top to bottom. I think it threw me for a loop because I was going in expecting a lot worse than this. So
Jacob's
Marcos,
always last. So let's get into it.
Okay.
What we like to do here is we like to have Jackson and Marcos cover every single possible opinion you can have on the show, so that by the time we get to me, I'm pretty much just an echo chamber saying, I agree with you there. But yeah, getting to it, I thought this was a great episode. I've been behind for a bit, so I had to sit through the last 3 episodes, and I'm gonna be real with you, it was painful. It was really hard for me. I wanted to give up, delete my account, and just not post ever again. But I got to this episode, and it was really good, and it made that binging worth it. Like Jackson said, there were some great character moments, some good action. And it actually moved the plot along for once, which was crazy. But overall, I really liked it.
All right, so I guess this is a spoiler review, so we're going to obviously get into spoilers. So
Everyone died.
Let's start off off the top, which I think was a very fantastic scene. We opened definitely something I didn't see coming was Jericho virtually inside of Slade's mind and the battle these two have been having for the last few years. We cut to the moment where he actually entered Slade's body after his death during the church scene in episode 8.
I think 8, yeah.
Yeah, so this, that we cut back to that, and then we get to see this inner battle between Slade and Jericho, and it's actually really well done, and it really started the episode off strong, and it brought a new side of Slade out, which was so good in this episode, and what I've been waiting for since episode 1 of this season. They haven't given ESAI Morales enough to do. It's been one of my big issues with the season. He's been, just kind of meandering around, not in half the season, basically, just hiding in the shadows, doing whatever, excuse me. But this really let him shine, and this first moment really capped that off well, and I was thoroughly enjoying it. So, what'd you guys think of that?
Yeah, I thought Shellyman was, once again, I'd love to see him back, and I thought he was great in this scene. I will say, as you said, Slade Wilson, I think overall, not only in this scene, overall in this episode has been like leagues better than I think the past few, of course. And I think this one pretty much cemented for me. Like, he's kind of like the definitive live action Slade. I haven't seen Arrow, and I don't want to mention Arrow, but I think he's kind of like, like the definitive
you should
one.
Watch Arrow, and I'm missing Arrow right now because Marcos wanted to be late to this recording, and I'm very disappointed.
Wait, guys.
Well, that has nothing to do with
guys.
So
Do you hear that? That's the world's smallest violin, just for Jackson. That's crazy.
Yeah, when you guys tune into Crisis and ask me what happened, then you'll come running
crazy.
back. Huh?
That's so crazy. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, Marcus, get back to your thought before you were so really interrupted.
Yeah, let me go back to my
Jump back.
thought.
You do you.
So yeah, of course, as you said, it opened with Slade Wilson, Jericho. I thought that was a great way to open it. Definitely didn't see it coming. Of course, then after that, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, goes to Hank after that or Gar?
I think it's
remember.
Gar.
Yeah, I think it was Gar.
Well, it doesn't matter. We can talk about it. Jake, what do you think about
With
Gar?
Gar? Oh,
what's your Beast Boy thoughts here?
I think what's going on with Gar is really interesting, but I'm kind of torn. I really like Ryan Potter as Beast Boy. He brings like a certain he brings something to the character we haven't seen before in like other iterations of on screen, and so I really like what he's doing with the character. And I feel like he's been so underused this season; it's been upsetting to me. But he's finally starting to be used now, literally used also by Cadmus, who has installed a chip into his head, so they're able to control his transformations, and they're using him for their own gain. I'm thinking that ultimately this is going to lead to him unlocking his ability to fully transform. So I'm looking forward to that. But I think what they're doing right now is great. I just feel bad for the character.
Did you forget the
I
snake?
agree.
Did you? Because I think the show did.
Yeah, everyone forgot the snake.
Oh,
the
yeah.
show anyways.
I forgot.
I think everyone else forgot
that
about it.
one scene.
I think including the people making the show forgot about the snake. But I guess we'll just let that
I
go.
thought that was so like what was it? I think it was like episode 9 or something, where Superboy was like, "What can you do? I can turn into a tiger and a snake." That was it.
Well, he definitely didn't mention the snake part, but
the writers literally forgot.
I mean, listen. The Gar stuff was probably on the lesser end. I was fine with it. It was short. It was to the point, moving along, just setting up the story for the finale, which was fine with me. I mean, we didn't get a ton of character stuff other than like the nice moment with him and the barista, and then he murders the guy in the coffee shop. So she's definitely not going on a date with him now.
Well, we can't be sure. People have their issues, and I think she'll be able to see through that.
Hopefully,
she
she
fault. Let's go.
I mean, sure, but he did turn into a tiger and maul a man in the store. But
Who among us hasn't?
Ryan Potter.
Who among us hasn't?
Ryan Potter, man.
Okay, so after that, I guess we go to the Hank stuff, and we can just do that. The entire plot we got this episode, so we don't have to come back to it later.
Yeah, this episode does a lot of jumping, which
worked.
Did quite well.
I think it was fine. I think they balanced it pretty well, for the most part. But the Hank stuff, so he's broken up with Dawn. He's taken into cage fighting as Hawk, and he's some pretty cool action scenes with him taking out some random people in the cage, and doing blow and living his life, hooking up with random people. Doing douchey things, being a prick.
Unfortunately, we didn't get a scene where he's doing hardcore heroin, which is
not again, not after episode 1, with that weird moment that we definitely talked about in that review.
Look, I would have liked this part of the episode more if we got a little bit more development of that, because we only got the drug addiction aspect of this character in this season. That wasn't really set up at all in the last one.
I mean, it was touched on. It was more like pain medication.
Sure,
it was,
but
like,
it wasn't really.
He was doing it for like the crime fighting, and now it's turned to like just recreational use of cocaine. But I think Jacob and I kind of disagree with you, Marcos, because I think there was a really powerful message in these moments, and I think it did let Hank shine a little bit when he's been kind of sidelined. For the most part, no, not drugs are bad.
I think
you think they're good.
It does something really unique here.
Wow.
It really tells you that drugs are bad, guys. And I don't know if anyone out there is doing blow while they're listening to this podcast. If so, you're a baller. But at the same time, it's bad, and you shouldn't do it.
No, it's about finding what's actually right.
That is actually
giving up on it. It's about looking. You don't need to look into your past to weigh you down. It's about looking what you have. And he gave up Dawn. He gave up being a hero because of all of his outside issues.
Yeah.
Okay, it's about being true to yourself, Marcos. Sorry, you can't look deeply enough into it, but
this is
that's the truth of the matter.
This section of the podcast is brought to you by The More You Know. And we just want to let you know that.
Listen, I thought it was well done. I thought it brought some levity.
I mean, it was fine. I didn't dislike it, but it was definitely my least favorite part of the episode.
Interesting.
Well, I think you're wrong for that. But,
what was your favorite part of the episode?
I can't be wrong. It's an opinion, an objectively correct opinion.
All right. Well, what was your favorite part of the episode, Marcos?
Well, it's not my favorite part, but definitely one of my favorite scenes. I think it's gonna be when CONOR LESLIE and Minka Kelly, they're when they get the guy, hang him up with the lassos. That's pretty cool. I thought the lasso looks great. I will say, I think of course, the movie's higher budget, but I do think the lasso looks almost better in this show. It doesn't look fake at all.
It does look really good. Yeah, I really liked them.
It didn't look fake in Wonder Woman either. I don't know what you're coming out about.
All right, back to the pop.
I'm just saying it looks better.
All right, back to Titans. I thought this scene was really great. Also, I loved the interactions between Dawn and Donna. CONOR LESLIE was great in this scene. Jackson, how do you think CONOR LESLIE was in the scene?
I mean, yeah, I know Jacob, that I've been like not Minka Kelly, but CONOR LESLIE's been hit or miss for me this season for sure. And I think she definitely brought it a little more this episode. I think her and Dawn's story was short and to the point, as a lot of the storylines in this episode, and really worked for me. I think it kind of made up a little bit for my issues last week with me, arguing about the fact that she just kind of abandoned Dick, and so did Dawn, even though they were arguably closer to him than Raven and Starfire are. But it made up for a little bit. I'm still kind of frustrated with what they've done with that situation, just because of all the issues around it. But jumping in from that, I think my favorite part, and I think it's definitely my favorite episode of the episode was, or favorite scene of the episode was Raven and Starfire in the car, and they start arguing. I think it's actually a really good moment between two like really frustrated characters who never get to they just kind of, they've been kind of sidelined. They have crap storylines going on. They're both just like really frustrated, and they start yelling. And Starfire calls Raven an intergalactic space witch, and then Raven goes back and says the pink-haired alien princess and from planet Tam or whatever, and like she doesn't really give a shit. And it's like, I think it was just a really good character moment, and it just showed the frustration. And we don't get to see those kind of moments. It's kind of like, it was very human of them both, even though neither of them are really necessarily human. And I was like, oh wow, this is like a really well done. There's been a lot of weird scenes, like inner scenes between major moments, and I think like the scene in the car a few weeks ago where Raven left Donna, and like that was a really weird scene. Yeah. Like stuff like that can happen. Then moments like this can be pulled off, and I think it was really well done. So I'll give him credit where it's due, and I think this is a great moment.
Yeah, it was definitely one of my favorite scenes as well. I think that it felt really natural. It's probably some of the best chemistry they've had. I also think Tegan Croft has done really well as Raven as the season gone on. I think she also has a really great chemistry with Anna Diop's Starfire. And yeah, I mean, they don't have too much to do in this episode. That's definitely like their standout scene. But I thought it was really it was funny. It was also felt really true to the characters, and I like that it ended up with them going towards Dick. Jacob,
yeah, for sure.
Like that bit.
Yeah, now that we're getting into, since you brought up Dick, we're gonna talk. I really am excited to see him actually become Nightwing, and that's the big reveal we get with his character at the very end of this episode. He's finally getting the Nightwing suit.
Yeah, but don't jump the gun.
Oh my god,
we gotta talk about the moments.
Let's be real.
Okay?
Let's be real here. Okay, all anyone has wanted this season is to see Nightwing, okay?
Yes, and we didn't get it this
Since
episode.
the
People
first
need to know that.
episode, we've been wanting to get Nightwing, okay? And we finally saw a glimpse of the suit, okay? It's taken 1 season. It's taken 2 seasons to get Nightwing, okay? That's all we've wanted since we found out about the show. And we're finally getting it.
But there's other good things
I know,
about
and we're
this
one
episode.
episode away. But there's 2 great Dick scenes in this one that we need to talk about. And I think, the first one when he goes back to Jericho's mother's house and they have this nice exchange when he's come to the realization that Jericho's still alive inside of Slade. Yeah. And he comes to talk to her and they have this nice banter. For whatever reason, they just these two have really good conversation skills, and they really bounce off of each other well. Mm-hmm. They've only had 2 scenes and 2 random episodes, but they both really worked. Yeah. And it's a lot of credit to Brendan Thwaites. I mean, he's a good actor. But I don't know the name of the woman who plays Jericho's mom, but she does a very good job, and he's in her very limited role. Yeah.
I think what also helps is the motivations for both are pretty clear, and they're pretty uniquely related in terms of how they both love Jericho. So I think
for sure. Yeah, and then we go, which was another standout moment of this episode, was to Stu's. Was the shoe cleaner. Mm-hmm. He walks in, and there's obviously some tension, and we're like, oh, well, what is this about? And it turns out that Stu is the guy that makes Batman suits, so he ended up making Robin suits. And Stu is very frustrated that Dick burned the original Robin suit. And he even, he goes off and shows him by burning a fruitcake by giving him the analogy of him burning the suit.
That was
And they go and they open back and they go into the lab, and then Lily, who's like the head technician, is like, well, you're such a drama queen, Dick. Like, you burned the suit. Like, it's just funny that these characters like do all this work, and then like the superheroes don't even give a crap, and they burn it in some weird, existential moment, and it's like, well, these people worked hard to make it.
I thought this scene was great. I love the interaction between Dick and Stu, where he's just like, I'm not in the shit business anymore. I'm in the fruitcake business.
Yep.
But do you want this? Do you want to burn? Do you want to burn this one too?
Another just random character that's like a standout.
It's just really good.
Like, it was just a really good scene, and the guy who played Stu was very,
It was really great. Yeah.
And it felt like they knew each other. It felt like they've had history, and it felt like that moment was frustrating for him. Yeah. So it definitely worked.
Loved it. For sure. And I'm really excited to finally see Nightwing after 2 goddamn seasons of the show.
I know.
2 seconds of.
That's why everyone's been here. That's why we've stayed through a lot of this. We love Dick Grayson. We love the Nightwing character. He's one of my favorite DC characters.
And it's just like the leaked set photos from a few weeks ago is my favorite part of Titans season 2. Okay.
Listen, I mean, that's not that unfair to be
yeah.
You, but listen, I get it. But that that was some great stuff. I think the 2 Dick scenes were very standout, and I think they were well done after last week and the week before, which have been kind of hit or miss for sure. This whole season's been frustrating with the Dick storyline, but we finally gotten to a place where it's like, okay, we're here.
They handled Dick well. They handled Dick well in this season. They handled Dick well.
Yeah. I think they've tried.
Yeah.
I think they could have done a better job.
Okay.
But so let's go to the kind of big thing we got in this episode, which was Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got Rose and Jason scenes, but then we also got our very highly anticipated Rose flashbacks. So Jacob, we'll start with you this time.
Oh my God! There's so much I can talk.
There's
so much I can talk about. I can have any opinion right now. It can be the first time this opinion's been stated.
You have the floor on the Rose flashbacks and the Rose moments with Jason in general.
Oh my gosh! Okay. All right, give me a second to collect myself. This is crazy. I really liked the Rose flashbacks. We've kind of like assumed Rose was a mole of some sort, and that's how Deathstroke has been getting to the Titans. And it was revealed that, in fact, that is the reason she's been there this whole time. Slade planted her in the tower. But it was actually kind of cool to see how it all came to fruition, where she sought him out because she was an accident after her mom and Slade got together once, and that Slade has essentially been using her to get back at the Titans after Jericho's death. And the way it was done was really well. Was well done. The actress, I cannot remember the name of the actress who plays Rose. Do you guys remember it? Is it Chloe? Chelsea, that's right. She was great in these scenes. She really sold the character well, and the kind of anger that she didn't know her father and that she wants to get his approval and all this. She did a great job in those scenes. And the Ravager suit looks so good. Oh my gosh. It leaked a while ago when the season was first starting out. And it looked
I wonder who leaked it.
It looked really good. And now it looks so good on screen. And seeing her actually have some action scenes against Deathstroke was great to finally have that in the season. But overall, I really loved her scenes. And the breakup between her and Jason was great. CURRAN WALTERS is such a good actor on the show.
The moment when he thrusts and the whole was that why your daddy was effing me?
Yeah.
It's so him and it's so real.
It works. Upset. Like it's like when they had the argument, it feels like a real argument. Like the scene is very well done, and he's definitely the standout of the season altogether.
And let me get on the soapbox for a second. I don't want to yell about this episode because I really like this episode. But what this episode showed me is just how frustrated I've been with this season, and why is that? And that's because I haven't liked Rose much at all the entire series or season for the most part. She's been good. The acting's been a little off for me, but but the truth of it is, I didn't know where this character came from. I didn't know anything about this character. Didn't know her motives. Didn't know anything like that. And I think the issue that the show had was that they didn't tell us until they told the characters. The audience should know before the characters when it comes to this kind of reveal. Because if we knew even slightly that she was working with Slade, and of course there's small hints, but that's us projecting a storyline that we know from the comics onto a different character, and that's like our legwork, really not theirs. Yeah. And then the fact that they gave these flashbacks, and it explains her character so well, and just tells us what happened and where she came from, and then sure, I didn't need those episode 1, but like they would have been nice like episode 8 or 9. You know, it would have been some
I
explanation.
mean, honestly, we
here
could
and
have had
there.
an entire episode of this flashback, really.
Right, and like Jericho was definitely kind of messy for me, but the Cello Man was very good in that episode, and it really worked and helped me, enjoy that character. And that moment helped me enjoy this moment in this episode with Cello Man even more. So like, having that work behind the character really helps, and I think it was a disservice to wait so long to give us these flashbacks and have it be explained only after the fact to the characters at the same time it's revealed to them. And I just think it's frustrating because I feel like I would have liked Rose a lot more knowing this before and knowing the story about her. But that's just me, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, I can agree with you for sure. I felt kind of the same way about Rose throughout the season. I'm kind of like indifferent about her. I think definitely after this episode, I can tell where they were going with the character, and I think that this is by far the best part of this episode. I mean, I think CHELSEA ZHANG really showed why she was cast as this character, and I think that she did a really great job this time. And I have a more understanding of what they were going for, but it's just kind of frustrating that we kind of waited all this time to know something that was
she was
pretty
this
obvious.
preppy schoolgirl who had this preppy mom who was trying to live her this preppy life, and that she didn't fit into any of it, and she was odd, and she was strange, and she never got hurt, and she didn't understand why, and all these questions. And like we got it, and it was fantastic, but like, it just felt so late, and I'm like, man. And it's not like I'm not ready to like her now. It's like I wish I'd liked her earlier.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of where my issue comes in.
For sure. Because, she's putting on an act throughout the entire season.
Right, and we had no idea because they didn't really lay the groundwork. And it's not like they just kind of pulled the rug. And it's like, well...
And I'm not, like, asking, like, they should have revealed this episode 3.
But no, but like
give
episode 8,
just
episode
before,
9, all these heavy,
here's
all
the
these
thing.
heavy
This is the
Deathstroke
one
episodes.
character... This is the one character related to Slade that's in the team. Like, what do you expect people thought?
Right, you thought we were completely blind to it? Like, we expected it the entire time. You just didn't do it until the 11th hour. So it's like, oh, man, like, this episode is so good. If we just laid the groundwork a little earlier, it could have even, could have landed harder.
I mean, they could have done the exact same thing if they cut out 2 episodes because they split up the entire 20-person team.
Right, and how good of a... Let me just speculate, just to throw it out here. I know we're running long,
right.
but just to throw this out here, is that, if we had these flashbacks early on, right, and then they cut off before it was revealed that Deathstroke had sent her in, and it was, before that one scene, let's just say, I left him, I abandoned him. But we saw all the other moments of, like, Slade finding her and, like, trying to give her this purpose, but then she's like, I just left him. In the same way that's what we thought happened in the second episode. That we thought that she escaped.
They give us something to kind of
right. It gives us something to
like
connect her to and where she comes from, who she is. It's not just like she's just random person who
they could have
shows
just
up.
done a complete lie that's kind of related to that. It still would have worked better, I think.
Or you could have changed the flashbacks for her. You'd set up a lie or something. It's
and obviously we're not going to pretend like we know better than them per se.
No,
we're
of
just,
course I'm not.
From
Listen,
watching it, this is our
But right, this is
As
my
a
issue
viewer,
because you had a good character, and I'm enjoying Rose now in this episode, and I just wish I'd had that earlier. And I feel like my issues came from not having this background.
And also, I think really all this this stems from the fact that I had too many characters and too many storylines.
There wasn't enough time for everyone.
No, and there wasn't, and like it sucks, but like everyone ends up on the back burner at some point, and some people are too much in the front for too long, and it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then we have to split everybody up, and you have an episode like Elko, which really doesn't even make any sense in context.
Not at all.
Right, and it's just like, man, like what are we doing? And then we finally get here, and it's like, man, like this stuff is so good. Like, I just wish we, gotten more of this and not focus on more of the nonsense, but I get it. Listen, I mean, I enjoyed this episode. I'm ready for a great finale. I just think that, this stuff was so me and just really worked that I'm just, I can be frustrated for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
We had to, we could have cut out the entire karaoke scene in favor of this flashback scene. And I think that's the real issue.
I mean,
that's the real issue.
Listen,
here.
Hawk and Dove
entire
are a whole other issue. Them being in this season is a whole can of worms that I'm just like, listen, did they keep them around because they needed them in the flashbacks and that was gonna, they needed them a lot, around a lot. I don't know, I don't know what necessarily.
I'm sure they kept them around because fans love the characters.
Yeah, but they didn't really have a
and I
good
loved the
place
characters,
for them.
and I loved CONOR LESLIE, and I loved Donna Troy in the show last season, but they've just done such a murky job this season. It's like, oh god, like you got to keep all these people around. You don't even know what they're doing anymore. Like episode to episode, they don't even know what they feel like. It's just like frustrating. But I mean, it sucks because we haven't seen Connor in a couple weeks, and it's like, well, what's going on there? It's like there's just too many characters. I know we know he's in next week, so we'll get something there. But I'm hopeful. I'm very excited for next week. I'm very excited for Nightwing. I thought they laid the groundwork very well with that stew scene. I thought the Rose stuff set up very well for a big finale. The Jericho stuff, we're gonna get him try to get him out of the body. We're gonna try to bring him back. I think there's very, very, very exciting stuff to hang on to.
Yeah, I think that everything's like kind of laid out here. This is like good setup for the finale. Like I think I'm going into the finale thinking, all right, this is it, and I feel like this episode did a great job in setting that up. I do want to give a shout out though. The director of this episode was his first episode that he directed of the show, but he's normally the stunt coordinator. I think his name is
Deathstroke Rose scene, you could definitely tell because that was choreographed
and all the wrestling. I mean, I think all the fight cage scenes as well.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing. I mean, I thought the set on the set piece on the Rose and Slade scene was very good. Like the nails on the outside.
Oh yeah,
like if she fell, she would get hurt.
Well
she
shot,
could heal.
well, yeah.
Right. It was like they very focused on that and the fact that she can get hurt and he would hurt her, and it was very well done.
Yeah, for sure. So I do want to give a shout out there, and I thought that for him to be like helming the penultimate episode and it being like one of the best ones of the season is definitely something to
this is what you want in a penultimate episode. This is set up and wrapping up other storylines, and it's what you want. It's cutting these things off that the extra baggage and focusing everyone in on one thing, and we're finally there, and it's very, very exciting. So any other final thoughts before we wrap up? We're almost at basically half an hour here.
It's been a bit.
Give me Nightwing. That's 2 years.
We want. Oh my god. Just give me Nightwing.
They cut it for we got those photos this week. They cut it from last season.
Just give us Al Azul. That's all we want. Give us Al Azul.
The Nightwing. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be awesome. I can only hope that they open the episode with it. I doubt it. They'll hold it even more.
We're gonna get
that will make me
the last 5
that'll
minutes.
That'll make me I know, but that'll make me want it that much more. And that fight scene is gonna be incredible. And I know he's gonna 1v1 Slade. It's gonna be worth it. And this whole season's gonna be worth it.
Here's how it's gonna go. Okay. He's not going to suit up for the entire episode. They're going to be in the middle of the final fight. He's going to disappear off screen for a second, come back in the suit for 2 minutes.
Oh, are you saying he's gonna fight in street
He's going to
clothes?
fight in street clothes.
I'm going to lose my mind if they do that.
And then he'll turn to the Nightwing suit at the last minute.
I'll lose my mind.
Yep. That's what we're going to get.
Bad way.
That's what we're going to get.
No more street clothes. We're done with street clothes. They're the Titans, okay?
The Titans of street clothing.
They're not the Abercrombie and Finches, okay? They're the flippin' Titans.
They all look like they just walked out of a Hot Topic.
Okay. Where can they find you guys on Twitter?
Marcos?
Find me at BizGamer9, please.
You can find me.
Please.
Is it BizGamer9, please? Is that it?
Yes.
Is that real? All right, cool. You can find me on Twitter at JacobCamp13.
You can find me on Twitter at Jackson867. You can follow the page at Full Circle CNET. You can check out our work on FullCircleCinema.com. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can like this video. You can comment on this video. You can tell us how excited you are about the finale. You can tell us if you're not excited about the finale, and maybe we'll respond. We'll see how it goes. We'll catch you guys next week for our spoiler review of episode 12 titled Nightwing. So we better get some Nightwing. That's all I got to say.